I've been in e-commerce since it was a thing before eBay. We'll hit a 9-figure valuation. If you double your income, you don't double your happiness. It gets smaller and smaller and smaller. And I've been in a place where I've had 300 grand in debt.
Acquisition with someone that I know as well.
Introduced me to a guy called Iman Gadzhi. I have never met somebody, I know they hate me for this, but like...
You'll hear a business that's doing 9 figures and they've got hundreds of employees. With just 20, how have you managed it to be so efficient?
It's by design. We launched Caps last year. Massive success. That's now doing 7 figures. But it's actually our design that got copied on AliExpress and now everyone has it. We have Circular, which has got Vic, and Vic's incredible. If we need something, he will do that straight away. Alex is amazing at creative and product. I'm really good at operating a business, advertising.
What makes a great ad?
Good hook, great value props, and then a great call to action.
And how do you know when an ad is going to do really well?
Like, we would probably spend 8 figures on that ad a year. We were the second highest spending brand in the UK on TikTok. Didn't work. You don't want something attached to your name because it's risky. I'm building wealth, but I'm also building people. E-commerce is the hardest time it's ever been.
What is going on, people? Welcome back to the CEOCAST, the number one podcast for showcasing business and entrepreneurship. Now, today I'm sat in front of a real legend, an icon, an e-com king, as some may say. Danny Buck, what's happening?
Not me. Yeah,
definitely you.
No, I'm good. It's been, 2 years, 3 years since we tried to get this hooked up.
It's been a very long time. You've always been out of the country. I've been out of the country. I tried meeting you across the world and you would disappear to Maldives or something like that. It's been crazy. But I've got a question to start off this podcast, right? For people who are tuning into this podcast right now, why should they watch the whole podcast and why should they be listening to you?
Throwing in at the deep end there. Well, if you're interested in a story of someone who is self-made, I've come from humble beginnings, background. I know there's a lot of people like that. But I've been in e-commerce since it was a thing, since before eBay. Mm-hmm. So if you're interested in e-commerce and how I've gone through a journey of starting an agency, going down, losing the agency, getting broke, building myself up again, back into e-commerce and making money, and then building what's being called the fastest growing men's jewelry brand in the world. And tune in, stay tuned.
Why didn't, throughout the whole time when you had so much hardship, why didn't you stop? What made you want to continue in the first place?
Well, yeah, I've done quite a lot of podcasts about my story and stuff like that, and I do feel that sometimes I feel like I repeat myself and things like that, but there's other ways to come at it. So why? My grandparents always taught me to never give up, mm-hmm. and that's something which stuck with me. There was always you can fail, but you only lose if you stop. So I've had that inbuilt in me since I was a young age. But I feel that the big thing is I always believed it was going to work. From the very beginning, as a kid, I always believed I was going to be successful. But when you're a kid, you don't know what it's going to be. I never knew it was going to be men's jewelry. Do you know what I mean? You never know how it's going to turn out.
You always have the dream, but you have no plan of action to get to that dream.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it just comes down to your path, my path, my journey. This is how it's unfolded. There was speed bumps, there was obstacles, there was dips, and it's come to a place where things are going well. Mm. They were going a lot better before Trump decided to start throwing tariffs around, but things were going really, really well. And our journey, my journey, so far has been really good. But to get around these hardships, I think you've just not got to accept that it's the end. Mm. Failure is okay. Failure is a part of the journey, and it teaches way more than the wins do.
Yeah, fair. I want to say right there as well, because I know there's going to be a lot of new listeners tuning into this podcast right now, trying to understand who you are as a person. And I know you mentioned that you've been in the e-com game for many, many years. And let me just make it clear to the audience right now, this isn't like your e-com guru that we see online, buy my course and all that. This is someone who's actually built brand massively. I mean, what's Craftd London worth right now? Or what's been your latest revenue figures, if you don't mind me asking?
So we will hit...
What I'm trying to say, I'm just trying to say that you are the real deal.
Yeah. So we will hit a 9-figure valuation potentially this year, maybe next year.
Awesome. Yeah. Sick. I was listening to a few of your podcasts up here, right? And I know, once again, you don't want to go over your story too many times. There's other podcasts for that. So I kind of want to make this podcast different. But funny enough, you just mentioned a topic right there that I was going to bring up later on anyway, and that was about the tariffs. Now, I know you've said in other podcasts that a lot of your customer base is in the US.
Yeah.
So how do tariffs affect your business, and how can you maneuver your way around it to make sure that you still can be successful and, it doesn't take too much of a hit from your business?
Yeah, so the way I'm viewing it is if we imported £1 million worth of stock or $1 million worth of stock into the US, mm-hmm. That's now, that tariff, the duty on that is double.
Yeah.
So we've now got to absorb £1 million worth of lost profit.
Yeah.
So how do we navigate that? Like, is it going to be like the truth of it is, as I don't know if you've seen the news today, but there's a bit of backtracking going on. It won't look like backtracking according to Trump, but there'll be a deal struck, and it won't be 104% or 220, like wherever he's going. Like, I think he was just throwing numbers around at one stage.
Can you explain the numbers for the people who don't actually understand the tariffs? What does that actually mean for a business? What are tariffs? What does it mean with the deal with China and US? What is it exactly?
Yeah, so if you manufacture in China, or if you sell goods in the US, so the biggest people that have been hit are for people who manufacture in China, are based in the US, and then who sell to other countries outside. So you get hit twice.
Yeah.
So for us, we will bring in from our manufacturers, it'll land in the US, and then we'll distribute in the US. So we don't get a hit a second time.
Mm-hmm.
We just have the first one.
Yep.
If we come from manufacturers to the UK, whatever our normal duty is, it's only when it goes through the US. And then what's happening at the moment is when there was a small trade war with like Canada and Mexico and these places and American businesses, again, manufacturing in the US, bringing in, they're like, if you've got a product which is costing you 20, 30 quid, that's now costing you 40, 60 quid.
Yeah.
You've then got to ship it to one of these countries, and the customers then paying on import as well, and they're refusing it, so it's coming back. So it's caused a mess.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And I might not be 100% right in what I'm saying. That's just my understanding of it. It's very, very fresh for a lot of people, and how you navigate it is all new as well.
Yeah.
But the last 7 years for e-commerce has just been. I mean, we've done great with Craftd. Like, don't get me wrong, but the last 7 years have been impossible. Like, if we would have started Craftd, say 14 years ago, when some of the brands which I look up to, Movement Watches and Hawkers stuff, Craftd would be pushing 200 million valuation now. Like, it was so much easier. The cost per acquisition on Facebook was a different league, and the trading conditions are so much easier. The big boys weren't even advertising, so CPMs are cheap and all that sort of stuff.
So essentially, you're saying if you had started this earlier, it would be way bigger than it is.
Way. We would have sold it by now, definitely.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I think
Is that part of the plan, or
if someone's got a big checkbook? Yeah.
What would the figure have to be?
It's a funny story. When me and Alex started, we said if we got 5 million for this business, we would sell it. But as you move, things start to change, and the business has now turned over a lot of money. It's classed as market leader. We haven't even scratched the surface of what we want to do in terms of new categories, and we're growing. Last year we grew 38%. It was our biggest growth year since COVID.
Yeah, wicked.
And we're growing again this year. It slowed down April. We're at about 5% growth versus last year's April, but that's massively been affected by.
So do you think that's been affected due to the tariffs and stuff?
Yeah. So the tariffs, our gross margin is quite high. Yeah. So the tariffs don't massively affect us that much. Of course, it's dead annoying. Nobody wants to lose 7 figures of profit. However, it doesn't mean we're going to go out of business. The biggest issue is the consumer confidence of all the bad news. So the American shoppers are holding on to their money. They're calling it the cash crunch over there. So remember the credit crunch? So cash crunch. Everyone's holding on to money. No one's spending because they think there's going to be some crazy whatever. And that's been what's affected us. But now there's some good news starting to come out. So we can literally see it because it's Shopify. We can see it daily how our revenue changes, and we get a pulse on things.
Yeah.
And stock market has started to go up again today. We're having a good day in sales. And although it's not as black and white as that, consumer confidence is the bigger issue for us over the tariffs.
What year did you hit for 5 mil then? Because as you said, you and Alex had this discussion that once you hit 5 mil, we're going to sell. What year was it?
I mean, technically, the business could have been worth that in its first year because we did 1.1 and the profit was about 60%. It was a big profit in the first year because we had no staff. There's nothing. It was just
so with the multiple, you could have.
Yeah, exactly. But no one would have bought that because it's just it grew too quick. And the next year when we did about 11 the next year, and that was COVID. Obviously, weird trading conditions, all of that. When we did, we grew up again in the third year. Then we started to get people circling around us.
Okay, so interesting question there, right? As you said, you grew too quick. When you see a brand that grows too quick, I know you did in your first year as well, but do you see that as, what's going on here? Or do you see it as a red flag? So let's just say you used to buy a company and it grew massively in its first year. Is that a sign of this is going to be an absolute banger, or there's something fishy going on here? It might be a trend, is it going to die? Is it going to fall off? What is it that you look at if you had to analyze it?
It depends on the cash amount, the revenue amount, I think. So I actually quite like a race to 8 figures. I think like you can get to 8-figure mark. But then if you're doubling and doubling at that level, it's very hard to cash flow that sort of growth. So I quite like it at that level, maybe like growth with a 2 on it and a margin in the teens. But if margins in the twos as well, it's incredible. But I think slow growth is good growth. Slow growth doesn't mean that you go bust. I think there's a lot of people that just want to 10x all the time. I think it's stupid. It's okay to do really well. Like when we get onto this in a little bit, we've made an acquisition in a business, biggest acquisition I've ever done, and the goal, we know that we can transform that. We can double that business quite quickly because there's a lot of things that are missing. So you could say 100% growth in that business is a good thing because it's putting it where it should be. But for Craftd to double its revenue, we could do that, but that would mean cash flow. That would mean working more terms out with our suppliers. It might need external finance, where we might have to give up some shares, all that, which we don't want to do. There's lots of things that we don't. Might need more staff, more operational structure, more OpEx. It's just more headaches. I don't want that type of business. I'm happy with our business. I'm happy with 20-30% growth, which is still fantastic. But even people, especially with the trading conditions this year, if there's no growth but you still make a profit, that is a brilliant year in these conditions. So I think this whole thing about growth just needs to be like, people just need to calm down a little bit, because how many businesses go hell for leather and then go bust?
I was due to make a video on this, right? Because I had a conversation with one of my friends who owns a fast food shop, right? And his turnover yearly is roughly around 500k. We were comparing it to mine, and his is more than mine, respectively. 500k is a lot more than what I earn. However, and we were talking about this, and it kind of ties into what you're saying right now. It depends on the type of business you want in life. I've got a business where I may not earn 500k. I may earn half that. But I can get on a plane wherever I want. I can go wherever I want to go. I don't have many staff to feed or responsible like that. I can live life on my own terms and have a very good life at it. Though I may only earn, let's just say, 250k, 300k in the year, I can still do all of that. Whereas if I want to go tenfold, I have to once again hire all the staff. Maybe I have to get a bigger studio. Then there's a lot more responsibility and cost, which then affects the lifestyle that I want to live. Do you see it as that?
Happiness is regressive. Yeah, it doesn't. It doesn't. If you double your income, it doesn't. You don't double your happiness. It gets smaller and smaller and smaller. And there's obviously a pivot point. It comes down to, what do you want to be as a what do you want your purpose to be? So one of my friends, Jake Cassan, sold his business to a large company, made his money, got his payday, and he was miserable. It's all been documented in his YouTube video. I don't know if you've seen it. It's a fantastic video. I recommend watching it. And it was because the phone stopped ringing, and there's no purpose anymore.
Yeah,
everything about an entrepreneur's mind is creativity. So it's not drawing, it's not art, it's creation, and it's every day. It's potentially breaking things to fix them and building. Yeah, you take that away from an entrepreneur, and they lose purpose. So that scares me more than anything. So if you think of, like, you look at this, yes, great, wonderful. We might be able to. I never need to work again by selling Craftd. I might never need to work again by just the money that we're making at the moment. But actually, if someone takes away my livelihood, which is building e-commerce businesses, it's what I've done since I was 22. What would I do? And I'm not. I don't play golf. I'm not an artist. I don't know what I would like. What I'd actually do. Of course, I would love the money, and it's not worth risking a life-changing amount of money. But I think after gardening leave, I'd be back creating another business. Won't be jewelry, but because I probably won't be able to. But it'd be doing something.
Yeah, no, it's like it reminds me a lot of Simon Squibb. So I'd done a podcast with him. Likewise, he sold his company to PwC.
Yep.
And then I'm pretty sure I remember the words him saying that he felt depressed after, because it was literally one day you're doing this, that, so busy with business, and then in the next day you're doing absolutely nothing. You're literally just sat down on the sofa at home, thinking that it's going to be a dreamland with X amount of millions in your bank, but you're thinking, right, what now? What do you want to do? And so I'll ask you, what is your purpose? What is your life purpose? What do you want to do?
You've said it already. It's living life on my own terms. It's waking up at 9 o'clock if I feel like sleeping in. It's spending time having a coffee with my wife. It's walking the dog. It's going to the gym. it's all of these things that I want to do.
Yeah, definitely a lot of traveling as well.
Traveling, yeah, I do travel a lot. I love that. Well, that's I want to see the world. That's
Yeah.
that's just something that I've decided that I want to do. I have these 4 pillars. It's health, wealth, profile, which is kind of change to relationships and experiences. So for me, going to Wembley with my dad, or getting a plane and taking our entire family on it and going somewhere as a family, doing a family trip. We did a really good one from Dad's birthday. These things, like being able to do them, like the money is just the enabling part of that. It's the experience that you remember and you talk about all the time. You don't talk about, oh, do you remember that time I had 7 figures in the bank account? Like you don't do that.
Yeah, you remember the memories that you create, I suppose, with it.
Yeah, exactly. And then, so that for me, it becomes obviously you have to earn it. It's not and I've been in a place where I've had literally 300 grand in debt. So it's not me talking about. It's it's nice for me to be in a rich position, all that sort of stuff. Yeah. So the purpose of the 4 pillars really, and I focus on those, and you try and keep them spinning at all times. Because without wealth, I haven't got the option to do the experiences. But if I don't do the experiences, then the bank account will build. I'll get a bit unhappy, and then relationships. I value relationships. I don't want 100 friends. I want 10 really good close friends.
Yeah,
and try and nurture them as much as I can.
Oh, sick. How many people working in Craftd right now?
20. We think we just took on the 20th. Yeah, 20.
So 20 people, and soon to hit 9 figures, essentially.
Value.
Yeah. But even then, 9 figures, 9 figures. What's the key to that? In a sense of, you will hear a business that's doing 9 figures or 9 figures valuation, and they've got hundreds of employees. With just 20, how have you managed it to be so efficient?
It's by design. So the business has amazing gross margins. So most of our spend goes on advertising. So it allows us to scale to a certain business that has distribution that doesn't need to spend on advertising. We're extremely valuable. So if you look at our valuation on gross profit, would be multiple 9 figures. But the reason we can scale is because we can afford to spend a lot on advertising. But the team itself, we're obviously working on that, and we've that is not a sustainable business like long term, because it's only going one way. It's only getting more expensive. But as we acquire more customers, we've got more repeat business rate, so repeat purchase rate. Sorry, so more customers are rebuying, and we've reached a point where I think we're at 1.3 million customers now. So we've got a lot of people to start to launch new categories. So we launched caps last year. Massive success. That's now doing 7 figures, just that category alone. So that we treat that like it's its own business. And if we launch anything, belts or whatever we want to launch in the future, we can see that as like more ways to bolt on and grow.
Yeah.
It helps with like loads of different things, but yeah, that's why we've taken on a product team for the first time. So 2 people have joined, focusing solely on product development. Previously, it's been co-founder Alex. And he's now just at the point where we're rolling out products so quickly. We just need a bit more of a technical background.
I'm going to add a caveat to what you just said there, right? So initially you started off in men's jewelry, and then you've got the caps now. And then, as you said, the road can open up to so many more things, I suppose, different products. Throughout the whole time on the podcast, I've always been told by business owners, focus on one product, smash it in that, and keep going in that. Because if that's your golden egg, then just keep having that golden egg, lay more eggs, right? So how comes you would want to add more to the product line in terms of, let's just say you've done trainers, for example, in the future, or shoes? Why not do that as a separate brand itself?
It's very difficult. There is pros and cons to it. But Craftd started with 2 products, as some people know already. And we wanted to validate whether the business was sustainable or not just off that. So we did that. It did well. That pretty much launched just with Alex's audience, so no ad costs. We then launched a new collection, which was 4 pendants. One was a compass pendant. Everyone thinks that's just an AliExpress design, but it's actually our design that got copied on AliExpress, and now everyone has it. And that's also a reason why not to stick with just one hero product, because now that product doesn't do that well because everyone's copied it.
Makes sense.
So it's a compass pendant, a crucifix pendant, a wing, and forgot the other one. But it was 4 in 2 colours. And we did that, and we did 10 grand in 15 minutes. And we were like, right, okay, we might be onto something here. There is no real men's jewellery businesses out there that are doing scale. No one's really using social ads. No one's got this cool aesthetic. So we did it. We launched. We got a bunch of stuff. Then we launched chains, and then all of a sudden we've got quite a rounded inventory of probably about 30 products, 60 SKUs, different colors, and it just went from there. So if we would have stuck with just our first collection and tried to just rinse that, which a lot of people do, it just unfortunately gets copied. You can copyright things, license things, but trends change as well. So we've had rose gold products, they pop in and out. So I think something that might look like a hero product might be good for a year or two, but you don't want to rest on your laurels, I think.
It's interesting, right? Because I remember a time where men weren't buying jewelry at all. You know, they'd buy the watch. Yeah, that goes without saying. But buying jewelry in terms of necklaces, bracelets or pendants, that was, dare I say it, the women was doing that. Do you know what I mean? And men not at all.
When I was 18, I wore a silver Figaro chain, which was, I'm not going to say how long ago, but it was a long time ago. And so I think you might not know it, but men's jewelry has actually always been around, but it's been high street retailers and people like that. And, you know, those brands are just there. They're not cool brands. So if you want one, you can just get one. If you want a wedding ring, as an example, you can just get one. And these people, especially wedding rings, which I'll talk about in a second, because it's actually probably another exclusive. Actually, I'll give you what we're launching. These people do big numbers on these things. Very plain, very simple stuff. And the market, in my opinion, was there for disruption, the high street particularly, because they're not very good at digital marketing. They're not very good at looking cool. They're not very good at being desirable. They're just there because that was the option. So these people have been around for many years. But what was needed, I feel, was when it became fashionable, and we've helped develop the market as well. So we've pushed the market out by making it an accessory to have.
Yeah. As someone running multiple businesses, I know how overwhelming it could be managing everything. Finances, taxes, expenses, you name it, it can definitely become a lot to manage at times. I used to rely on several different services just to keep everything on track, but that's where it all changed when I started using Tide. You see, Tide has completely changed the way I manage my business. With their business account, I've got all my tools in one place. Payments, expense tracking, savings, taxes, I've got it all in their app. That means no more juggling between different platforms. Tide gives me the simplicity and efficiency I've always needed. And here's how it's worked out so great for me, because in 2025, I'll be launching my own business, which you'll find out soon. And I'm doing it all through Tide. Furthermore, this is my business card for the new business. I registered my company and got my free business account all within one day, making it fast and reliable just the way it should be. Now here's the best part. I'm about to change your life as well. If you're looking for a similar solution, Tide is offering something special for you CEOCAST viewers. When you sign up and use my code CEOCAST50, you'll get £50 cash back when you spend £100 on your new Tide account. Terms and conditions apply. It's seriously a no-brainer for anyone trying to streamline their business. So what can I say? From someone who's actually been using Tide, it has changed my life more than I can imagine. It's just made things so much more simpler and easier. And I know it can do the same for you guys, which is why I'm so glad to partner with them. So stop wasting time on multiple services and join Tide, where you have everything in one place. Head over now using the link in the description or scan the QR code on screen right now and get started today. And once again, make sure you use that promo code CEOCAST50, because that's when you'll get your £50 cash back.
But what seems to have happened is the market's got bigger. More people have seen, oh, where'd you get that from? That looks cool. I wear that. And it's kind of evolved that way. I think that's kind of what's happened over the last 6 years. It wasn't, or 7 years, sorry, 7 years ago. There wasn't really a lot of people in the gym wearing jewelry or in swimming pools wearing jewelry on holiday, that sort of stuff. And as we've kind of put it in front of people's faces with advertising, I feel like that, and we've made it look cool. I think that's what's developed. But there is the caveat. It has always been there. People have done it. Bracelets, you see like the big sovereign rings or the big thick Cuban stuff. Yeah.
I suppose you brought it more to the limelight and you made it popular in, I suppose, today's generation.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is awesome. One thing I've noticed about your character traits, and correct me if I go wrong, but it definitely seems like it, is you're fast to think of solutions, right, for problems. So credit to you for that. And going back to originally what we were talking about with the tariffs, and we'll change the topic after that, but to get the answer of it, what are you guys going to do as a solution? I'm sure you would have thought already of how you can not counter that, but deal with that more effectively.
Yeah. So the simple answer is you have to raise prices. I don't want to raise prices. I'd rather the customer got the best price. Our whole mantra is, I think it's from American Gangster, like the best products, the best prices. Like that's what we want, because if we do that, we disrupt the high street, we disrupt it, and the customers will stay with us. But when we're forced to, we're going to have to, because we either just accept lost margin and our results go backwards. And then if that keeps happening, obviously there's a point where you stop making any profit and it's not a business anymore. But if there becomes a point where we can sustain that and go, look, well, actually, we're just going to take this as a point where we're just going to acquire more customers, we might just do that. But it depends what it is. If it stays at 100, 104, whatever, it's not sustainable. If it comes to 50, maybe we've got a decision to make. So I think that's kind of how we're doing it. But every single e-commerce operator is looking at it, that obviously deals with America, is looking at this going, oh, what the fuck, what do we do today? Like, then I was in Dubai when it happened, and I'd get up about an hour and a half before my wife, and I'd go and sit, and I'd just get literally like, oh, he's done this today. And then she'd get up and she's like, what's the news? And be like having coffee and go, well, he's gone to 60%, and then China have gone to this, and then America's gone to this. It was so bonkers. And then watching the stock market plummet as a part of it, it's probably in my life, I've been around, I was around for the 2008 crash, but I've never seen anything as live as like literally day by day, like going into turmoil, as well as stock market and bonds both going at the same time.
Yeah, mental. It's crazy. Who inspires you? I've been fortunate enough to sit in front of some great e-commerce entrepreneurs. We've got the likes of Lewis Morgan, Reese Robara, and quite a few others that I can't remember off the top of my head right now. But as an entrepreneur yourself, you always look around. So who inspires you?
Yeah,
and it doesn't have to be any of the names I just said.
No, they're both amazing. The guys which inspired me to get into it in the first place. So I had an agency, and I had a lot of clients that were like in the e-commerce industry. So my job before was building e-commerce websites for people. I didn't do it myself. I had developers, and we did the digital marketing. So I saw the boom of Instagram, and I saw how a small e-commerce brand could pay an influencer and then become a big e-commerce brand. So literally a brand go from 5 million to 20 million in a year.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, this feels like something I want to be involved in. So I saw that, and I started studying a few different brands. One was Pura Vida, one was Hawkers, and one was Movement Watches. And these were all called like D2C darlings or something. Like, I don't know what the phrase was, but basically like they do, and Gymshark were in that category as well. But brands which were on Shopify, Gymshark weren't. I was trying to get them a Magento at the time, which is what I used to sell. And I would watch the brands literally the same path: 1 million, 11 million, 20 million, 50 million. It's been like, wow, these numbers are nuts, and they have small teams. And probably the two which I got inspiration from the most are Movement and Hawkers, because Hawkers sunglasses and Movement were watches, and I think Movement got to 70 million, and I think Hawkers were around 80 at max. Hawkers sold for multiple 9 figures, and Movement similar. I think a little bit less, but like the numbers they've told me in private. I don't want to go into it. So
did you know the owners at the time as well?
And I know them now. I didn't at the time.
Okay.
So I was watching them. I was watching their brands grow.
I love when that happens, isn't it? When you watch people from afar, and then eventually you cross paths later on in life.
Yeah. So the Hawkers guy, Alejandro, has become a friend, and actually with the next business which we've acquired, he's actually involved in as well. Which is real. He said full circle. He said, my heart is full that we get to work together, because he looks up to me now, because he's been out the game for a little bit, and he loves how we've built the company. It's very different to how he did, a lot of staff and things. But for me, he's done it. He's built the e-commerce business, used social media to create a massive brand profile, ads and organic, and then he sold it. Like that, for me, that's incredible. And now he lives a great life. So I think my inspiration is still them, weirdly, even though they're not in the game anymore. They still inspire me a lot because they did it. But in terms of what is out there at the moment, I don't want to like diss the industry, because I absolutely love the industry, but there's a lot of smoke and mirrors, and you don't really know who's actually doing things well. Of course, you can look at things like Companies House and stuff, but like there's holding company structures, there's Dubai-based.
Yeah, there's like things where Companies House isn't going to give you all the information you're going to need and want. It's funny because when I see comments sometimes, like for example, someone could comment on this podcast right now that they're watching and say, "Oh, but Craftd London, this is what it says in Companies House." It's
true. Our balance sheet in Companies House doesn't look amazing because the ownership structure is owned by my holding company and Alex's, so all the profits are distributed out.
Yeah, it's just the way every business does it. You know, there's things you can do. Anyway, point to say is, companies has not going to tell you all information. So smoke and mirrors, as you were saying.
Yeah, and that's it. I just there's a lot, and I'm sure like there's been some amazing drop shippers. The drop shipping industry gets hated on a lot, but there's been some amazing drop shippers. Davey Fogarty has done a brilliant job of like moving and transitioning in that, and he's a great operator. But for me, it's operators. So I look across the field to America. Some of the brands that are doing 200 million, 150 million. Some of them are remote as well. I think some people like hate on remote working, but each their own. There's a company in America called Ridge that I think they do 180 million.
Is that they got the Ridge wallets and stuff?
Ridge wallet.
Yep.
Yeah, 180 million fully remote. I think they've got 70 staff. So yeah, if they can do it, like I don't see why we can't do it. And to be honest, a lot of our staff have stuck with us for 5+ years because they like that setup.
Oh, so you guys are remote as well?
We have a tiny bit of hybrid. So on a Wednesday we'll meet up face to face, and then every quarter we'll do a company meet up where we do whatever. It'll be like an activity day, and then we'll present to the company what's going on.
Okay, so one of the entrepreneurs I failed to mention, but it reminds me to say his name now, is George Heaton. Represent, right?
Of course, yeah. Amazing.
So I went down to his HQ. I think it's in Manchester. I can't even remember, to be fair. Big, massive, HQ with all of his staff in there and all that sort of stuff. So with the way that Craftd is set up, have you not got the HQ like that, or
we don't? So George,
do you prefer it like that?
In a weird way, like I know George well. He is hard to be inspirational from for me. But, he's extremely inspirational as a person, but for me, he's so different to me. He is an anomaly. Incredible personal brand builder. He's built that business from the ground up. Him and his brother are just fantastic at what they do, and they are without a doubt going to be a unicorn. Like totally different mentality. So what I mean is he's an inspirational guy, but for me and how I'm looking at building, I'm
completely different.
Yeah, I'm more of I'm an operator. I'm more like I'm in the business. I'm like geeking out with my headphones and do you know what I mean? Like if I were to build a personal brand, it'd just be me on my laptop. Like, there's nothing to follow. Do you know what I mean? Whereas he's built like the 247 brand's amazing and stuff. So like these are people which you mentioned Reese, you mentioned George, like great people now that are building real businesses, and I feel like the same with Ben Francis. Like these are the people that we want in the UK. Like this level. I think real brands, real brand building, like properly operated, not just try to do 100K a day, post a screenshot of it, put it on Twitter, and then try and sell a course off the back of it.
Yeah. But these are the people we need in the UK. But I've seen a trend, I've noticed something where a lot of these people are leaving UK. And I'm not necessarily talking about to Dubai for tax reasons and stuff like that. But to give you an example, Reese Awara has gone to New York because he understands, obviously, that's basically fashion city, but also a lot of his customers are in the US as well. Lewis has obviously gone to Dubai for tax reasons, I don't know, but he's enjoying himself out there. George is obviously out in America as well. What about yourself then?
So for family reasons, we're going to stick. I would move tomorrow, but it's not. For personal reasons, it's just not the right way to do it.
Where would you go if you did?
Where would I?
Yeah.
So I always thought it'd be Dubai, but it's so chavvy. Like last week when I was there, I was just like, wow. I don't know if it was in the wrong area or what, but like, it just felt like England, like hot England.
Which area was you in?
Jumeirah.
Which hotel?
Al Naseem.
Oh yeah,
that's the hotel.
For the UK, isn't it? Yeah, that's that. Al Naseem and 5.
That's it. Yeah. So avoid those because usually we stay in Mandarin or Atlantis.
Yeah.
So we were told like it's great, but for some people it's brilliant. I'm not going to hate on it.
And true say, they just opened the new hotel, which is right next.
It's amazing. It's amazing. Yeah, we actually did. We went there. That was real.
I'm due to go there as well, but because of this brand new hotel, everyone's flooded over in Jumeirah side right now.
Yeah. So it was so busy and so English, and obviously nothing wrong with that, but it was just like that's not why I went to Dubai. I wanted to like
switch
go
off
for chill.
Yeah.
So yeah, I got that one wrong, I think. But yeah, I love Dubai. I love everything about it. But I think there's a guy, I don't know if you've interviewed him actually, a guy called Jimmy Hill, sold Hairburst.
No.
So I think he's got the best life. For some reason, I'm always quoting him on podcasts because I think he's got it perfect. He's got Dubai, England, and then he spends the rest of the time in like Bali or
so where's you originally from? UK.
Okay,
cool.
Yeah. And I think that's it. I think the ideal setup is 3 places. And it's obviously wherever you class as a UK home. It could be London or UK, or Manchester, or whatever. I think the Middle East, somewhere, whether it's going to be Qatar, Abu Dhabi, Dubai. And then I love the Eastern world. I love the way I think, the way they think. I love the people. So I like to humble myself by going over there and spend more time that side of the world, I think.
Yeah,
So,
first.
yeah.
Yes. I want to come to, I know once again you've mentioned your story in a few podcasts, but just for people who haven't necessarily seen those podcasts and, the low to CEOCAST, so shout out you guys, the story of yourself, and I'll recap it briefly, but I want you to go deeper. So I know there was a business that you were part of, it was an agency, right? And as you said earlier on in the podcast, that your job was basically building e-com websites for, obviously, the e-com entrepreneurs and their businesses. Eventually, things went a bit sour and south, am I right in saying? Yep. It's funny because it reminds me of a lot of stories with other entrepreneurs I've had on the podcast. Don't know if I should name, but like, for example, Lewis Morgan. Don't know if you know his story or not. But it reminds me a lot of that. So if you just had to kind of recap your story, just for people to understand what you've been through to get to this point right now.
Very quickly, because I know a lot of people listen to the same ones that I do, but I started an agency at 22. It was a management buyout. I borrowed 6 figures. It was a lot easier to get money then. You could do it off a business plan. And we got the cash. We took a portion of a bigger company, which was the class of the web division. We moved it over. It was just website development. We bolted on marketing and we grew it from the time we moved over. We had myself, a co-founder, and 2 people. One was freelance. We then created that turned, so we created all the new services that then turned into a business with 120 staff. Turnover was about 4 million. We brought in a CEO to try and sell the business. Me and the CEO didn't get on. He was unfortunately given equity, so couldn't boot him out. And it was the right time for me to go. So I wasn't happy in it for the last year or so anyway. So it was the right time. They wanted to do whatever they wanted to do with it. We received a couple of offers for selling. It wasn't the right deal for me. And yeah, they when I left the business, I was promised a large amount of money for my shares, and but that was going to be amortized over I think about 24 months.
Mm-hmm.
I got 2 payments, and then they put the business into administration, so I didn't get any more.
Crazy.
Yeah, so it wasn't just that. So like, I didn't see that coming. Obviously, I should have got more money up front, but and that's a big lesson. Try and get as much up front if you're doing this deal, because this stuff unfortunately can happen. But the big thing for me was I'd already spent that money, not on cars, on stock for my first brand. So I'd already committed to a lot of stock, which was watches. Circular was the first brand, and influencers and everything. So I was already going to build a big brand.
Yeah.
And then I had to turn around to a lot of people and say, I've got no money. Stock held up. Once stock holds up, you got nothing to sell.
Mm-hmm.
Ended up in quite a lot of debt.
Interesting. And then that also, and then the story on from that was you had Brand Builder created after that, correct?
Yes. Yeah. So basically, Brand Builder was my way out to bring in some quick income. So it was a consultancy side where I'd write guides, which is like how to start a fashion brand or how to grow a fashion brand, or God, what did I do? The Brand Builder business plan book. So people would pay me $250 to write my business plan, and then I'd do consultancy calls as well.
Okay, sick. And so then that led on to you starting Craftd, right?
So we had Circular, that was building, Brand Builder, which was consultancy, and then my wife created Honu, which is a female jewelry brand which would sell like it's like turtle pendants and things like that, and every sale would say the sea turtles. Oh, there was at that point there was one brand called Ivory Ella doing about 10 million at the time, mm-hmm. and it was clothes that saved elephants. I thought, great, that's a great hook. And ads, jewelry that saved sea turtles, and it worked a treat.
Yeah,
really.
It's still around the brand.
It is. We're kind of summing up what to do with it. It was selling jewelry for like 20 quid. So like 5-6 years ago, mm-hmm. You could sell jewelry on Facebook for 20 quid. You can't now, and unfortunately, the customer base has been trained at that level. So we're just working out what to do with it, because the brand's got some history, and it's got some positives to it. It's got a bit of intangible assets, stuff like that.
So why exactly can't you sell jewelry at 20 quid now? Only reason, because I'm looking at it from an outside perspective and thinking that's very affordable.
Yeah, it's affordable, but the cost per acquisition on Facebook is it went from costing us maybe like £5 to make a sale, to costing us like £30 to make a £20 sale.
So it's not even working anymore.
Yeah, yeah. I think sub $100, it's really difficult on Facebook unless it's totally unique. Like there's not a lot of competition.
Okay, fair. So then after that, did then come Craftd?
Yeah. So to help me sell more business plans with Brand Builder, I used to record what I was doing with Honu. And that's where Alex approached me for Craftd. He said we should do a men's jewelry brand. There was a story behind it. I'm rushing it a little bit. But basically, we met him in Nando's. I thought he was pitching me, wanted me to help with consultancy because that's what head I was in. And he said, "Do you want to do it?" I was like, "Oh, you want me to do it?" And he's like, "Yeah." I was like, "Okay." Men's jewelry. It's got the right unit economics, and that's where we kind of started from there. Yeah.
So the main question I want to ask you, I know I just went over the whole story, but the main question I want to ask you is, why did you go down the route of choosing Alex? I know, Alex, you both had a conversation, but essentially you both choose each other, right? So why is it, and what was his thing that made you choose him to be your business partner? And I ask this because in life, people come with opportunities where I can go in business with someone tomorrow just because the product makes sense, but more so we buy into the people. So when you met Alex for the first time and he was telling you this idea and said, "Oh, hold on, we should do it together," was your initial thought, "You're a great guy, yeah," or "I'm going to go back, think about it, etc.?" What was your whole thought process back then?
Being a CEO isn't just about making tough decisions, it's about being at your very best every single day. That's why a lot of CEOs trust Sunnah Supplements, the world's first halal supplement brand. From halal collagen to electrolytes, Sunnah Supplements formulates products to help you perform at your highest level. Whether you're leading a company, a family, or simply yourself, Sunnah Supplements should be your partner to help you achieve more. The products are literally crafted to fit your lifestyle, your values, and your ambition. Every single ingredient is backed by science and every single product is halal certified. And every formula designed to help you become the best version of yourself. And here's why I love Sunnah Supplements, yeah? Because every single sale they make, they donate a portion of it to charity, which is something I deeply align with. So I'm not just buying products that fuel my body, but I'm also buying products that align with my values. With over 50,000 customers and having just launched in the USA, be sure to join the movement today and use the discount code CEOCAST for 10% off. Or I'll make this even simpler for you guys. Scan the QR code on the screen right now, which will take you directly to the website. And once again, when you're checking out, use code CEOCAST to get 10% off of your order. What an absolutely bloody bargain. So I want to thank Sunnah Supplements for A, sponsoring this video, but B, helping me become a better person overall.
So Alex is amazing. You'd know within 10 seconds, you just get an aura off him, his energy, his positivity. And I think with business partners, you have to have somebody that you get along with. Mm-hmm. And with Alex, there's a very clear distinction about what I would do and what he would do. As well as being friends, we've obviously become friends over time now. You need, it's very, very vital that you need two characters that complement each other. So Alex is amazing at creative and product. I'm not very good at those things. I'm really good at operating a business, advertising, and growth. Mm-hmm. So he'll let me do what I want over here. I'll let him do what he wants over there. But together, those things work.
Yeah.
And then and that's what we've been like since day one. So of course, if I go, I don't get that social media post, or I don't know why we're launching that product because it didn't work last time. He's like, "Trust me, let's go with it." And yeah, things like we had a gemstone necklace. It took about a year. I was like, "Come on, we just get this out." And he's like, "No, it's not right. It's not right. We need to do it." And then when we launched it, it was our best selling product that we've ever launched. So you've got I trust him in the same way I say, "Al, we need a UGC ad. You need to say these things. Put it out." And he's like, "I don't like it. It's going to be cringe. Just watch." And we put it live, and it really works.
Yeah.
And that happened quite early on when we did it. In the same way we filmed the ad, and I was like, "Put a stick of green necks on the ad."
Yeah.
I was like, "What? Are you sure?" And it's like, "Yeah, do it," because that's what Hook is. And then from that, it's our best performing ad of all time. There was people involved who did the value props and all that stuff. We messed around with it, but we had this conversation about jewelry turning people's neck green.
Yeah.
So we're like, let's just bring it to the market, and everyone's like, "What the fuck is a green neck?"
Yeah.
But now everyone knows what a green neck is.
You know what ad I really like of yours that's more recent? The Ashton Hall morning routine one, basically. Yeah, I thought that was really cool, to be fair, especially with his one going viral massively, and then everything you was doing. I loved it as well because from someone who's looking at it from a content standpoint, the camera was highlighted more on the jewelry as opposed to the actual routine, which I thought brilliant.
So Genius, fair play. I was not involved in that. There's fair play to the content guys there. Zach, he did an amazing job on it, and Adam. But the main thing with that is that's not a direct response ad. So that will do great organically. And what that will do if you put it into the ad account is it'll take all the spend because it's engaging, but it won't make any sales.
Really?
So it needs cutting up. So it needs value props. It needs a hook. It needs something to draw them in. It needs the logo. There's like, if you study anything from David Ogilvy, he teaches about direct response ads. So there's no call to action in the ad. It's just something you want to watch. So whenever we put stuff like that in the ad account, it will take all the spend, which is usually a signal to Meta that it's going to be a good ad. But it's not, because you can see product a little bit, but you're watching it for a different reason. You're watching it because you want to see what the morning routine is. And it's entertainment. It's not direct response.
Okay, so on that note there, let's identify, in your opinion and your experience, what makes a great ad in terms of ROAS. And I'm hoping you can give an answer here. I know you definitely got some secrets up your sleeve.
So 3 parts mainly. A good hook or visual hook. So thumb stop. What's going to stop people? Great value props. So why should I buy the product? What's the problem? What's the solution? And then a great call to action. So what to do next and why. Like, I think those are the 3 kind of things that we try and break down. So if you look at our best performing ads, sick of green necks, like what the hell is a green neck? We solve the problem. We show them why our product is durable, it's heat proof, sweat proof, all of that sort of stuff. And then the call to action shop now, Crafted London logo. And then there's obviously supporting call to actions in the formatting.
And how do you know when an ad is going to do really well?
You don't. We've launched so many, we're like, that is a banger, and it humbles you so fast. And it's cost thousands.
It's just like a podcast when I do it as well. Sometimes I do a podcast where I believe it's going to be an absolute banger, get 1 million views, and it doesn't do anything like that.
It's frustrating. You have to test.
And I suppose for you on the flip side as well, it's the exact same as way I feel is the ads you think it's going to do all right, they pop off differently.
Yeah. And how I've described the ad there is just kind of the skeleton of it. You need timing, you need the right products, seasonality. There's all like different factors that come into play. But the best ads are ones which show a great product. It's as simple as that. If you've got a great product and you can show it visually really nicely, and you can do a strong problem solution. I firmly believe in problem solution. That's direct response. Colgate invented bad breath. That wasn't a thing before they did it. Like, do you have bad breath? What's bad breath? And they'll go, here's toothpaste. Yeah. Here's toothpaste. It fixes bad breath. And then that's the way we think. But we haven't been able to beat green necks, which is really frustrating. So yeah, we repeat that ad quite a lot. But the good thing is we've got that much critical mass with it now, and we spend that much. It's very hard for someone to enter. You can copy the ad, but you can't copy our scale.
Yeah.
So it's and also our back end operation. That's why people have launched ads similar and struggled. And it's not that we can't be taken over. There's some ridiculously intelligent kids that will like come up and definitely have a pop at us. But it's more about like when you get to a point where you've got a really clear funnel and you're spending a lot, it becomes a little bit hard.
Yeah.
Like we would probably spend 8 figures on that ad a year.
Really?
Yeah. So that's like, or that ad group.
Yeah.
So that's difficult. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So to replicate that and to throw all that money in there, you've got to have that money there ready for it. And obviously not a lot of brands or businesses are going to have that in the first place.
Yeah. And it fatigues as well. So like that's that sort of spend, you need to constantly be evolving that creative.
Yeah.
And we do that a lot. So it's not like that might last, a version of that might last a couple of months, and then we need to replace it, film it again. And the shoots are costing more money now. So again, these are our competitive advantages. It's more the bits where we need to improve are the new channels.
Yeah,
for TikToks and stuff like that. We're just not good.
I think it's just. Do you think it's just down to the nature of the platform being new? I know it's 3 years old now. TikTok 4 years old. It's still relatively new compared to Instagram or Facebook that have been around for ages.
But when was it? 2 years ago, we were the second highest spending brand in the UK on TikTok. Didn't work.
Why not?
Just didn't. We turned it off, and our revenue remained the same. It was just we tried. We thought we needed to hit a younger audience, but we were hitting them anyway.
I was just going to say, do you think your customer base is on TikTok like that?
I think they are. I think it's the type of creative that we were serving. I think it needs to be very different. Now, the vision for Craftd is to become a legacy brand. So a Cartier or a Tiffany, like that's where we want it to go. We've got work to do. But if you look at Cartier when it was 6 years old, it doesn't look like Cartier now.
Okay.
So we've got a lot of work. So we're looking at how do we profile customers so that if they don't want to buy Crafted now, how do we get them to buy when they're 25 or 24 or 22, whatever that is.
Make it a goal for them to want to get it.
Yeah. Porsche used to advertise to 18-year-olds so that when they were 35, they'd buy a Porsche.
Yeah.
FHM and stuff like that. Like, yeah. And that sort of funnel is super smart. But if you look at, the Cartier, Tiffany's and these like mega jewelry brands now, they don't expect, or maybe it's different because you see everyone wearing them, but they don't expect 18-year-olds to be able to afford them. But what they want you to do is make them aspirational so that when the time comes, you're like, I actually love that brand.
Yeah. I suppose, wouldn't you say Rolex done the same sort of thing? Because it was
another brand. Yeah.
I think all these luxury brands kind of done the same sort of thing. I want to come to the exclusives because I know you got a few things you want to share, and there's definitely a few things I want to hear as well. So I think we'll start off before we get to the new acquisition. You mentioned something earlier about wedding rings.
Yes.
So what was that exactly that you was going to go into?
Okay, yeah. So we've been working on this for about a year and a half. So the analysis that we've done is the biggest selling ring is a wedding ring, obviously, and we just wondered whether we could actually look at doing it as a product. So we've been in product development for a while, and we've developed a ring which is long lasting, very long lasting. Scratch proof, heat proof, all of the stuff which we've got as part of our brand DNA, but is made from a metal which is like totally scratch proof. Basically, is what we, because like my wedding ring is my dad's dad and my mum's mum merged, and it cost next to nothing. The cost was just merging it. And what we found is that when there's loads more research been done by the team. This I hope I don't do any disservice, but we found that all the budget goes on the woman, and obviously same-sex marriage and all that sort of stuff. But this, when we're doing our research, the majority of the money goes on one person, and then the men's one is an afterthought. They don't want to go around the shops, but what they do want is something that's going to last, look good, all that sort of stuff. So we've developed a product which does exactly that, and we can deliver it to them next day. They don't just go shopping, all that sort of stuff. But it's also cool. So the box is cool. We'll guarantee it so that if their ring size changes, we'll send them a new ring for free.
Oh, really? Interesting. Okay.
If they lose it, we'll replace it, and it's guaranteed for life. So all of these things we thought, how do we get somebody into, because it's a big deal, right? Like you're buying a wedding ring, you don't want to lose it, you don't want to change it. We want to make sure that when they buy it, they feel that they get the exact same thing off us again, if anything happens.
Yeah.
So we guarantee it properly. And this is we've done all this, and we've looked into it because we want it to be a great category, a great product, and something which is genuinely meaningful for people. So May the 9th, we launch wedding rings.
Wicked. Okay, so that's literally around the corner.
Yeah. Well, I don't know when this will be out, but yeah, May the 9th.
So tell me how you prepare for a launch like that.
A lot of money because the stock is expensive, very expensive stock. So that's the main thing. Stock is, well, see where we are next week, but it's pretty expensive going into America at the moment. We have done a main campaign, which is obviously the theme of everything. That's our aesthetic. It's obviously trying to make the brand more aspirational. The guys have done a great job with that. We've got our CRM lined up. So there'll be a pre-launch, which goes live, I think, on... What are we on today?
Today's date is the 23rd. 23rd,
so it's not probably, I think the 25th, I think we start. That's Friday, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So that pre-launch will start then. If not, it'll be the Monday. And what we'll do is we just start to tease it out, show people, explain how the product's been designed, the value props again, like why it's different, why you should choose Craftd over this. And we think the price is good, actually. We think the price is really good compared to what you can get in the high street. Because, yeah, I think there's no real reason to just like choose a brand. I thought you can choose anybody.
Yeah.
And there's some great brands, of course, like nice brands and nice businesses, and the products will be okay. But like, I don't know, I feel like we're more connected to the customer than some of these. So we got the pre-launch, and that'll go on for about 2 weeks, 10 days, something like that. And then the actual launch itself, the feed will change. We'll do a lot of social media. The ads have all been prepared, and everything will just deploy on go live.
Basically, you just turn it all on the day, basically.
Yeah, so products will go live obviously on the day. But these things, this won't be a big launch for us. It's not like everyone's like signing up desperate to like buy the product. You're either getting married or you're not. This is a category which we're planning on making a large part of the business. So.
Okay, so talk to me how you actually make it a large part of the business, because I may be completely wrong in this, but my brain is in the headspace where I'm not sure what product this is exactly. However,
That's a gift box.
okay, first. Okay, but let's just say your gem bracelet or a gem necklace right now. I'm not getting married. That I can get that any day of the week, right?
Yep.
This product that you're making specifically, I would obviously have to be getting married for me to want to get one.
Yep.
So with that in mind, how do you anticipate that to be one of the big fundamentals of a business when I suppose the rest of the stuff is everyday products that people can get anytime?
Yep.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, it's purely down to the volume that are being sold at the moment across the world.
Okay.
The TAM on wedding rings is absolutely massive. So total addressable market. So what we think is just we want a share of that. We want market share of that because at the moment our ring sales are just all rings. So we want we want to take a slice of the wedding ring market.
Fairs. Well, best of luck.
And it's massive. So
yeah, definitely. Best of luck with that.
Thank you.
And then coming to it, you voice noted me on the way up here when I was driving from London. Acquisition with someone that I know as well.
Yes.
So now we need to dive deep into this. I don't know how long we've got left on here, but 31 minutes. There we go.
Oh, that's enough. Yeah, more than enough. Yeah. So, all right. So I spoke to him on the way down, and just to clarify it. So it came out of nowhere, to be honest, for me. We've been introduced by my friend Alejandro from Hawkers. Introduced me to a guy called Iman Gadzhi.
Oh, yeah.
So we had lunch. We've been talking for about 4 months now, doing calls, and he's a unique and actually very inspirational guy.
Have you met him in person?
Yeah, a few times now.
Oh, yeah.
And I have never met somebody, and I know they hate me for this, but like his age, that is so wise and just knows what he knows.
Yeah, he knows what he's talking about.
His persona is incredible.
Yeah.
And I knew I could work with him immediately. We're very similar. I think we're really similar in character and what we like and what we don't like. And we had a couple of cigars, we had a couple of wines, and we just talked through some stuff. And then when I was in Dubai about 2 Thursdays ago, he just said the situation with his brand is this. Would you be open to having a conversation? And it makes me sound big-headed, but I turn this stuff down all the time because my focus is crafted, like it's 100% crafted. It's a very valuable asset. I want to make sure it grows to the right point. But when Iman asks you, you think about it a little bit. So we talked about it, and this is an 8-figure business. It's a lot of money for me, and this is something which I believe will be an incredible business as well. But the brand Hills Eyewear, it's previously called Gadzhi.
Okay, they've changed the name.
Yes.
Okay, because I was thinking it would be Gadzhi, but
yeah.
Okay.
Yes, Gadzhi's going to be Hills, and I'm sure he'll announce all that himself when the timing's right. But we spoke about doing this, and yeah, like I said, it's a massive investment. It allows me to put the whole team, the crafted team, on it. So the team gets so the Hills team is now the team that's built this.
Okay, wicked. So it's proper partnership. It's not just Danny Buck and Iman Gadzhi partnered together for this product. It's crafted. It's with
so it's Alex, my co-founder as well. So the two founders are going to set up a brand new company.
Yeah.
And it's the crafted team is going to be connected to it. So
Okay.
so we're operating it as such. Mm-hmm. It's very similar to how I used to do it with Brand Builder. Brand Builder, the group used to have a central team.
Yep.
And then that would power the growth of the brands.
Yep.
But this was already an established, or not established, but like this is already a brand which is around.
Yep.
So it's got revenue, it's got everything. So we're coming in, we're acquiring a large stake in the company, and Iman's involved, and so is Alex, from Hawkers. So myself and Alex will be owners, Iman and Alejandro, and that's a pretty good team. So you've got a guy who's grown Hawkers, you've got Iman who's Iman, and then you've got myself and Alex who've grown Craftd. And yeah, we feel in the luxury eyewear space, there's not there's loads. A lot of them are owned by Luxottica, but to craft something that's genuinely luxury and sell it at a good fair price, there's not loads. And the product is amazing. Like genuinely, I wouldn't have invested if it wasn't. So the thing which is lacking is a solid growth strategy, a good operator, which I think I am. Alex is amazing at product. and literally our marketing team behind it. There's already a good team at Hills, and yeah, it's only 2 weeks old, the news, but yeah, it's going to be our first real Craftd as group acquisition. But the structure which will set up will be a little bit different. But yeah,
There's many questions I have for this. So first thing first, I want to talk about the actual product itself, because I'm sure you would have seen the podcast I've done with him, and it was last year, to be fair. We actually spoke about, I suppose it was Gadzhi then, and we spoke about the whole product. And he told me in the podcast that he was going to change the name, find a new partner essentially, and go down that line.
yeah,
And I asked him, why not keep the name Gadzhi? And he made the point of, if you want the whole luxury brand sort of thing, changing the name. And I said, okay, but cool. You got brands like Gucci or Fendi, whatever the case may be, that are named after actual names.
Yeah.
So why not just keep it as Gadzhi? What's your opinion towards Gadzhi? And
I said similar things. I wanted to know, but the answer is very clear. The way that we want to grow this brand is going to be through working with different audiences, different creators, and they will not want to work with Gadzhi as a brand. They want to work with Hills, and Hills.
What's the difference?
It's someone else's name that's getting built versus a company,
Okay.
and a company like, again, if Craftd was to do a collaboration, you wouldn't want to do it with Gadzhi. You want to do it with another brand.
Okay.
So it sounds a bit strange. So I think
A bit more sexy.
Yeah, I think so. And it's also, there's massive risks with a personal brand. My views on personal brand and maybe
I definitely wanted to get into that as well, because you put something up on your story to
different podcasts. Maybe we need about another 2 hours. But there's lots of things. I'm not saying Iman's going to do anything crazy, but like if something happens, that there's an attachment to that brand.
Yeah.
And I think this gives us a longer outlook on how we can actually build something meaningful for sale one day. You don't want something attached to your name, in my opinion, because it's risky. Yeah.
I'm going to comment to that because I know that's an interesting topic, and it's a different topic to what anyone else would say. And then the second part is, just like how I asked you about, going into business with Alex, what was it about Iman that made you want to go into business with Iman? Especially when you said that you get all these offers all the time anyway from other people, and I can imagine that, people would throw their businesses at you. So what was it that made you want to say?
I wouldn't say they throw the business at me. It's more there's certain,
or partner with you for your mindset and your
yeah. It's got to be mutual, hasn't it? So first up, I feel we can make a real difference to this business. First and foremost, I feel it's underperforming massively. So that if this business is not turning over 8 figures in 2 years, I feel like disappointed with how it's gone. It's already doing well, but it should be doing a lot better. And we understand the reasons for that. The product is incredible. Iman's organic team's incredible. Distribution, growth strategy, advertising, all these things. These are the levers which we can really turn on. So first up, I looked at the opportunity. So it wasn't necessarily just Iman; it was the opportunity itself, and then I feel like I built a relationship up with him over the last 5 months since we, maybe even longer. Yeah, it must have been longer. It was before Christmas. And he's smart. I'm learning things off him a lot, and that it keeps me in the industry, learning what's going on. He's obviously has got a lot of connections in the Middle East. I love that area of the world. Like there's a future plan for me over there as well, and how things operate. I go there a lot anyway.
Yeah.
And if anything, it's just he's a character which is doing absolutely incredible. He's gonna be a billionaire. You can see that quite clearly, and for me to be on that journey with him as well, I think's good. But just right down to humour, or how we work and how we divide our private life to our personal life and that sort of stuff. I think you connect with people.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Well, there's one thing, like I said, I wanted to talk about, and I'm going to go on your story right now to find out exactly what you said, because I want to quote it word for word. Which account was it on?
My public.
Is that Big Bucks or is that?
No, that's the other one.
Okay. Maybe I'll cut the name out of that one.
It's all right.
Okay, was it this one? Yeah, it was this one here, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
The guy filming every move for TikTok might get likes, but the one who skipped the shoot and fixed margins will get rich. This is a new trap. Building an audience instead of a business. Be careful. Visibility is a dopamine hit. Profit is the real reward. Let's build. Now, I know you've said this quite a few times. I'm not sure if you said it on different podcasts, to be fair, but I want to definitely have this conversation with you about personal brands and building businesses and all that sort of stuff. And I know Reece Bar is of the same sort of mindset as yourself. Build the business, and the fame is just secondary. But yeah, I know you definitely have other entrepreneurs such as Stephen Bartlett or Daniel Priestley or whoever it may be who says personal brand is 100% the way forward. People buy from people. So your whole take and opinion, please.
So like you're saying who inspires me, a few more names have come to mind now. Connor Walker, same thing. You know, there is no...
That's House of CB, right?
Yeah, incredible businesswoman, incredible business. The ALO founder, Daniel Harris, I think his name is. He has no social presence at all except a private Instagram, no LinkedIn. 10 billion, apparently they're worth, ALO.
Mental.
House of CB, don't quote me, but you know that's a serious business that could be pushing unicorn. Reese's business, obviously, it's got a very valuable business, and the same for me really. There's a couple of things, right? So like, let's say I start taking private jets all the time and sharing that I'm on private jets. I get a load of broke people that are like, yeah, he's cool, he's on private jets all the time, look at him flying. But I'll get a load of rich people, or wealthy people, going, that is cringe. And I'll get a load of crafted customers going, I'm not buying from him, he's on jets every week. I think it's detrimental long term. There's anomalies. George Heaton's an anomaly. The product, he is the product. When he's running, he's wearing 247, everyone wants to look like him, they want to buy the product. That helps. I'm not Crafted's model. No one is buying Craftd because I'm wearing a bracelet. Do you know what I mean? I cannot influence Craftd. So people who follow me, I have to be very careful about what I share in my private life. And, you know, I'm not a stranger to share a nice bottle of wine. That's what I spend my money on, to be honest. That's my main thing, and travel. But wine is a passion of mine. So I've got a little reputation with that. But, you know, even that, I've got to be a little bit careful. Like if I'm drinking an expensive bottle of wine, I don't be doing that all the time. Especially if you've got the customers struggling to get a refund or something, you know, like I hate that thought. So my views on that is it's risky. I think personal brand is risky for the majority. There's anomalies. Elon Musk is an anomaly. George Heaton's an anomaly. But I'd say 95%, maybe even higher. It's risky. There was an influencer in Sweden that got an accusation for being really aggressive towards staff on shoot. Someone filmed her, I think. And then next thing, it was all over TikTok. The brand, no one's buying from the brand anymore. So that brand went from 40 million to 10 million in revenue because of an incident with the person because she was an influencer.
That's a big loss.
Yes. And so, like, why do you want the risk? Like, for what? Are you really influence it? And of course, like, you know, there's businesses. We have Circular, which has got Vic, and Vic's incredible. Like, absolutely, like, probably one of the most easy, hard-working people, like, and he will, if we need something, he will do that straight away. And he's got shitloads on, do you know what I mean? And he's doing great. But he's not the brand. Like, he's helping the brand. He's not the brand. It's not the brand is not called Vic's sunglasses. Do you know what I mean? It's like, that's how, there's a way to do it. Same with him, man. Like, he won't be the face of Hills, but he'll be used to help grow and get campaigns launching and things like whatever he knows what he needs to do. But if you go too far, it's also really hard to sell without the person exiting.
Do you think there's a lot of entrepreneurs who have the public demeanor and the public profile? I'm talking about big public profiles that we see right now that are struggling to sell the business or just can't sell the business purely because of their attachment.
I don't know about that, but what I do know is that once a brand's been launched to an audience, if it's a single product, there's a timeline between when somebody will go, their whole audience will go, yeah, I'll buy it, or no, I won't buy it. And if you keep ramming it down the throat and you do it for a long time, it's like, buy this product, buy this product, buy this product. That audience is exhausted. You can't sell any more to that unless you launch new products. And I see a lot of that with like single SKU brands. So they might launch a drink, or they might launch, I don't know, supplements or whatever. Like, they just like launch one product, and without innovation and growth and reaching new audiences, whether that's with ads or something like that, it becomes stale quite quick. But the post today was mainly aimed at people. I feel like there's a more attention at the moment on building audiences than there is on building businesses. And there used to be a time where, like, obviously there was no social currency.
Yeah, so people do.
So you'd build a business. Yeah, you'd understand the mechanics of what makes a great business. Whereas now, there's so many people that look and go, they want the fame, they don't want the profit. So they don't want to build anything. They just actually want it for fame. And all that does is it clogs up the industry. It causes cost per acquisitions to like move around for a few of us, and then they just disappear anyway because they've run out of money. I just feel like the attention. I'd much rather have competitors that were much stronger at building businesses and they understood the mechanics of brand building. It's very different to audience building. And yes, there's the argument you could build an audience, sell a digital product. Like, fantastic, do that all day. That is a brilliant business. But don't build an audience. Don't try and build a business to get famous, because it's detrimental in the long term, unless you're the product. I think it's the main thing. There's ways to make it a marketing channel, but if the goal is to build something valuable to sell, it's not the right route, I don't think.
Yeah, I'm 100% of the same opinion of you, to be fair as well. I know that if I had some sort of physical product come out or anything like that, unless it's something as a for the fans, if you will, then it might be attached to me. But if I was to build, let's just say, a men's jewelry brand, I would not want any attachment, purely because my idea, and to be fair, I still have the dream, not necessarily a physical product, but I want to build a business to sell. I don't want to put my name to it at all, because I know that with the intention to sell, it's more detrimental to have my name to it or have my face to it.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, fairs. Anything else from yourself, Danny? We've got 16 minutes left.
Yeah, fire some questions at me. Let's do a quick fire round.
Let me see, because you know what, I did have notes, to be fair. I didn't read a single one of them. I just think sometimes natural, like, flowing conversation.
I love it.
Is always better anyway.
It's so much better, because what I hate is the you come on and you have to say the same thing over and over.
Yeah,
the same story, because like, I've done it enough now, and I've started to avoid doing podcasts, so I've got a big enough gap to talk about
something else.
Yeah,
that's the same thing with Iman as well, to be fair. I know he says the same sort of thing. Okay, here's a good one. What's one underrated skill every entrepreneur should master?
I think it's a really tough one. There's so many ways you could go. There's so many different directions I could go here. I always talk about learning how to profit. I always talk about removing your ego and not just going for revenue. But then there's also the side of, like, I think you could look at ego in a different way, actually. So probably learning the skill of, you don't need to be the main character in the business. It's much more rewarding when a team member does something brilliant. That's maybe started off trained by you, but now they've become brilliant. There's a guy who we've hired, my first employee's become fantastic, who's working in Gusto at the start, a restaurant, and now he's our retention director. And wonderful. I love that more than anything. So I think, but there's a time it's like, well, his career is all down to me. It's fuck all down to me. I showed him some things at the start, and his career is his career. It's amazing. So I think that maybe that is, I don't know, you maybe call that humility or you call it ego or whatever, but I think that is a skill that maybe some people need to look at and go, well, I'm going to build a business, but I'm not the main character. What I'm doing here is I'm building wealth, but I'm also building people, I think.
I think I've got the same sort of one. My one's taking emotions out of business decisions. Maybe it relates to ego as well. And in my perspective, I can give you an example. I held an event in Dubai in December. It was so great, and it felt emotional at the end when it was coming to an end, because it was over a 4-day period. I was like, my emotions were saying, this is so sick. I just want to refund everyone. That would be the worst business decision ever. Yeah. But my thing is, take a couple of days off, or take some time you need to, just to let the emotions run out and then think logically. So maybe ego is the same sort of thing with that.
It's a good one. Yeah, you could probably add to that with, I used to respond to something that pissed me off immediately, email, text, whatever. But what I've started to do is go, because you think, I've got to get my reply in now, they need to know. But what I've started to do now is sleep on it, everything. And the amount of times I've written a message, put it in notes, and I've gone back the next morning and gone, thank God I didn't send that.
Yeah.
Because I misread messages sometimes as well. If I'm angry, I misread messages. In most cases, people don't mean things personally, but they can read that way.
Yeah.
And if you're angry, you're going to take it that way.
100%.
Yeah.
I want to ask you this, actually, because I know, once again, on a few other podcasts, you mentioned it, where the old CEO used to send you emails whilst you were on holiday. But you never mentioned, did you ever reply to them?
No. Not on holiday, no. I used to do it face to face.
Oh, was it? Okay.
And it was always different.
Best.
Yeah.
If you lost it all tomorrow, What would you do first?
So it all being everything, crafting the lot.
But you keep your knowledge.
Right, I keep my knowledge. Okay, I would, without a doubt, build another brand. Without a doubt, because I'll be doing that when I'm 90. Like, I'll be starting something.
How easy would you say it is to do it now?
Like, so much. So it's the easiest. I say this a lot, actually. It's the easiest time to start a brand, but it's the hardest time to scale. So technology like Shopify did not like exist to what it is today when I started. TikTok, like you can create content on TikTok and get scale. Like, think of the slime businesses or the like that sex chocolate business and like stuff like that that have made multiple millions just off organic content. I feel there is a much easier to start a business. You can like pay 40 quid the business set up in the UK, like, but to scale is so much more difficult because you have to be very clever, very creative. You have to be able to create content.
What do you think is the best business What do you think is the best business for people to start nowadays? Do you think it's e-com or do you think it's something else?
Not e-com. Geez, e-com is the hardest business, the hardest time it's ever been.
Interesting to hear that from, I suppose, an e-com entrepreneur.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's just very different. The marketing conditions are just hard. They might get better, but they're very hard. It's very rewarding though. Like, I think that, like, there is good sides to it, but it is very hard. I love digital products. There's no inventory costs, and pretty much a very close part to e-commerce. You could say SaaS, but SaaS is under threat from AI.
Yeah.
I think we're in a very difficult period, actually.
What if you incorporate AI into the SaaS?
Yeah, fantastic. If you're smart enough to do that, and you need some developers, that are going to be AI developers are going to be extremely expensive.
Yeah.
So I think barriers to entry. But because there's so many things changing at the moment, so the economic climate is obviously pretty in turmoil at the moment, but also AI is really accelerating. So we don't know where that's going to go. We don't know what industries that's going to kill. Not to sound doom and gloom, because that's not me at all, but I think we're in a period where we probably need the dust to settle a little bit, and then let the entrepreneurs like understand what the playing field is.
Yeah, I would agree with that. There's too much going on at the moment. Let it all calm down.
Yeah,
and then. But then I know you would 100% have people in the comments right now in the audience thinking, well, now's the time to find the opportunity and get ahead before everyone else. Absolutely.
If you can't, well, this is where like I can't comment that because I'm not doing the research. But there will be billionaires born out of all this turmoil.
Yeah.
If you'd invested in gold a couple of weeks ago, you would have made a lot of money as well. But like I think the climate for me at the moment, if it was me and I'd lost everything, I would just go. Depends if I've got to make money or not, but like I would 100% start with consultancy. If I had to rebuild myself, I'd start with consultancy, everything I know, and just build up the cash flow again. And then whilst the dust is settling, I'd start to think about rebuilding.
It's interesting because that's exactly what I'm getting into now. So pretty much digital product and consultancy. So I'm building a YouTube mentorship for business owners. Nice. So digital product, but consultancy as well at the same time, which should be quite sick. What does a day in the life actually look like for yourself? Like I said, I know you travel and you've got this big business right now and you've got 20 employees. So talk me through a day in the life of yourself.
I'd love to make it sound sexy, but I guard myself until midday, which I put on LinkedIn the other day and loads of trolls.
Well, what do you mean you guard yourself?
So no one's allowed to contact me before midday.
Really?
So phones on Do Not Disturb. People WhatsApp and stuff, but it's up to me to respond or not.
Yeah.
So what I like to do pre-12 o'clock is I like to journal, to-do list, gym, coffee, spend time with my wife, just calm, slow mornings. I really love them. But the gym's included in that. So that's kind of my, I'll either do weight training or do like a bike or a sprints or something. Like I do cardio, I just rotate that throughout the week. And then, like I say, I fast. So I just have a fast until midday. So coffee, and then I plan my to-do list. So anything that's happened the day before, I'll go through the notes, plan what I need to do. Journal, I find that helps. Take my whatever supplements I'm taking, and then from there the calls start. So I'll have lunch, and then sometimes I have lunch on calls, and then I'll do about between 4 and 6 hours of work, deep work. But that work, I used to wake up and I'd start working immediately, and I'd be fatigued probably by 2 o'clock, and there's nothing good was happening at 3. So I moved that along to try and get myself in a better place, not like from a mental health or anything, but just more like I wanted to be calm. So I wanted to understand like what's actually important, what's not important. And I'm like, that's not important, so we'll leave that till the end of the week. This is dead important, so that's task number 1. So the first thing that I do when I start working, I do task number 1.
Okay, so you do have a priority list as well.
Yeah. So work on that, and then we have 4 or 5. I think we've moved it to 4 now, but we have 4 key calls. So trade, marketing, branding, creative, and I have a finance call as well. So that's our kind of like our key departments. And this has been a great change actually this year. So we use Basecamp, which is a remote working software. So we have projects for each department, the trade, marketing, branding, all that. And then we have a weekly call with those teams. And then we also have a WhatsApp chat for those as well. So it kind of compartmentalizes each kind of division of the business that we class as important.
Yeah.
And then so that gives me a feel. Like sometimes the call doesn't need to happen. Sometimes the calls happen without me. But we've decided what we want to do as a business. Like there's a growth strategy. We know where we want to go, and then we've decided that in each of those there's markers that we want to hit inside those. So my typical Monday will be trade and finance. Typical Tuesday will be say creative and marketing. Wednesday we're in the office. Thursday and Friday I leave pretty clear to do podcasts or to do calls or anything like that. With like what I found really beneficial is just having weekly syncs with other brand owners. I just like slot them in, and then sometimes it's not a weekly thing; it's more like a monthly. But
Still interesting though. I like the idea of that.
Yeah, because it's not like it's a video call; it's not a meeting.
Yeah.
So and we'll just go on, we'll just talk about what's going on. Yeah.
So then my last question for you, we've got 6 minutes left here. My last question for you is, I wouldn't say you're against personal brands. You understand why people do it. In your case, it's not something you're focused on. Why do you do podcasts then?
I believe my job is to raise awareness for Craftd, so raise the value of Craftd, and podcasts are the only thing that have been really beneficial for me in terms of building my own network and for people hearing of Craftd. It's the only thing. So it's a way that I can influence awareness of Craftd.
Do you think it brings in more organic approach to Craftd? In the sense of, for example, a lot of businesses, and including yourself, you just said 8 figures on ad spend, right? Whereas this is more organic in a sense, right? Or
no one's buying. Well, very very few will buy Craftd off a podcast that I'm on.
Mm-hmm.
But what I'm doing is I'm raising awareness of people who haven't heard of Craftd that might be in an investment space, a banking space. It makes us look more real. It does brand benefit for Craftd, which is the only thing I can really do. I can't post Instagram stories of new bracelets and people are going to buy the bracelet. Do you know what I mean? I can't influence that. So podcasts for me are the only thing which have done that. And honestly, I actually enjoy them. I actually really like them. I'm not bothered about how well a reel does that I post.
Yeah.
But I actually enjoy having conversations on podcasts. So I'll always do it. And I've supported startup podcasts. I've done some bigger ones. Obviously, yours is a fantastic podcast. Like,
appreciate you.
I do. I like to mix it. Like just yeah. So I think that's why I do them.
Yeah, it's always good. Especially, do you know what? The reason why I love it as well is because you can see in 10 years' time this podcast will still be up. Hopefully. Actually, no. Let's take yourself out of the equation. Have you got any kids at all, or anything like that?
No.
Okay. One day, if and when you do,
my nephews love them.
Literally, they can watch yourself. You know, and imagine seeing the beauty of that when you have little youngsters watching Danny in. However, I'm not going to go into age or anything like that. But at this time right now, I'm just seeing. Okay, cool. That's what Uncle was on, or that was Dad. That's what Dad was on. Like, I think that's honestly a beautiful thing. I've got a niece. She's only 6 months old. But I hope that when she grows up and she comes across CEOCAST, she's like, "Raw, that's what Uncle looks like when he was 10." And I'll be 45 at the time or something, which I think it's a cool thing, man.
Yeah.
And for me, the podcast is the same way you journal. I can get to look back on these videos in years to come and say, "Okay, cool, this is how far we've come. This is the mindset then of Raheem. That was this, da-da-da-da." And yeah, it's brilliant. But I suppose final thing from yourself, Danny, is any last messages, or what's the message you want to leave for the audience who are watching this right now? We told him why you want to listen to you in the beginning.
I think it's worth pointing out that no one knows what they're doing. So I think this month that we're in now is a testament to that. We all think we've got a direction, and the best days are when you have no forecast and your revenue is just going from 1,000 a day to 5,000. Let's scale the ads. There's no forecast. Whereas now we're in a place where we're forecasting and we're struggling to hit the forecast because of a economic event that's happened. And there's no point feeling sad at that. We're still up year on year. So I think the lasting message is no one knows what they're doing. You can be hit by a sucker punch at any time and just embrace it because we're all in the same boat.
That's it. Love it. Danny, here's the last thing I'm going to say. I'm manifesting right now that I'm going to be, or CEOCAST will be sponsored by Craftd one day, hopefully in the future. Because I like the message behind it.
Yeah. All right. We can talk about that.
Definitely. Well, if people want to, I know you don't do the personal brand stuff, but if people want to follow you, where can they do so?
Instagram, I'm more vocal on X as well, which I'm the Danny Book. Instagram is just Danny Book. You'll find me on there. It's got a 4 in it, but yeah.
Yeah, sweet. Well, Danny, thank you very much for coming on.
Mate, thank you.
And guys, make sure you watch the next episode next Sunday, where it's going to be another bang. I don't know who it is at this point right now. Just enjoy this episode, but next week will be another banger as well. Peace.